All right, what's up? Welcome in. You're watching Philadelphia 76ers now here on Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Hope all of you are having a great Sunday. And what a win it was last night for the Philadelphia 76ers. A staple comeback victory against the Milwaukee Bucks, led by Joel Embiid as well as James Harden, who were absolutely sensational. So props to them for really getting a much-needed victory against an elite team in the NBA, because a lot of people had some concerns, including yours truly here, about some of the games that they had lost over the last few. Dallas Mavericks, Miami Heat, Boston Celtics. But to end the Bucks winning streak was fantastic. But the purpose of today's show, some interesting Sixers trade rumors out there surrounding Joel Embiid to the New York Knicks, maybe this offseason. Bill Simmons, we know that he's Boston Bill. He probably wants to tear apart the Sixers because he's tired of seeing Joel Embiid going up against Boston. But on a recent podcast last week, brought up Embiid to New York rumors on the Bill Simmons podcast. And I thought it was pretty interesting, and I do want to go over it here and offer some of my takeaways. The Knicks are in Embiid pole position. Translation, they're the leading team for Joel Embiid, Bill Simmons started off by saying. If that Philly thing goes nuts this spring, which is like the big secret thing that everyone has been talking about, it's kind of like the underground story right now. This is all like hearsay, rumor mill, gossip stuff, but a lot of times when there is this much smoke, I get suspicious. Now, as part of this conversation, Bill Simmons did talk about James Harden going to Houston. And if that does happen, where does it leave Joel Embiid? Well, you saw how Harden played last night on Saturday in front of a nationally televised audience against the Bucks. Overcame a little bit of a slow start to end up having a great outing. So if he goes, Sixers are kind of screwed. I mean, they can win a lot of games with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, but if Harden goes and you can't replace him with another superstar, Sixers are kind of in a precarious position. And Harden could go back to Houston. If that happens, we might be on Embiid watch here, especially, and this is really what it comes down to, if the Sixers fall in round 2 once again. Because under Joel Embiid's little regime here, with him being the face of this franchise and going all the way back to 2001, this is a Sixers organization that is playoff choke jobs, and it's really run rampant throughout this organization. And it's been really unfortunate. They haven't made it to the Eastern Conference Finals since Allen Iverson won MVP back in 2001. And they made that run to the finals where they lost 4-1 to the Los Angeles Lakers after that legendary Game 1 performance from AI at the Staples Center. But you look at the past playoff results here over the last few years. Sixers lost in the first round in 5 games in 2017-18. The following year, we know what happened. The Kawhi Leonard quadruple bounce. They were an overtime win away from maybe getting past that second-round threshold. They lose to the Raptors in 7 games. Then in the bubble, Ben Simmons gets hurt, and they get dusted in the first round by Boston in 4 games. In 2020-2021, they go to 7 games with the Atlanta Hawks, and they threw up on themselves against Trae Young in Atlanta that year. And then last year, once again, in the second round, they fall short, and they lose to the Miami Heat with yet another home game in which they really came up short at the Wells Fargo Center in a couple of those games in that series against Miami. And here's more from Bill Simmons here. Embiid is not happy. I would watch the Embiid thing because you have the Knicks sitting there. They are run by Leon Rose and Big Wes, Worldwide Wes, who you know were Embiid's guys when they were agents. They didn't make the Donovan Mitchell trade. They have this war chest of stuff that we're about to show you here. And I guarantee they are throwing charcoal on the fire saying, man, Joel, what's going on? Why is this Harden's team now? There is no way, if they feel Embiid is remotely unhappy, that they are not going to pour as much gasoline on that fire as they can. So obviously, Bill Simmons does have some points here about Embiid being frustrated. I would be frustrated as well. You go back to earlier this year when Joel Embiid said, I think the fans want to trade me. I'm calling cap on that because I don't believe that. But if they go out with another tumultuous exit, could Embiid force a trade? We've certainly seen crazier things transpire in the player empowerment era of the NBA. So what do you think? Will the Sixers trade Joel Embiid? Still some fascinating stuff to get to still on today's show. Get into the comment section, join the conversation, T for trade or K for keep. Make sure you sign up with our sportsbook partner while you're at it. It is BetUS, offering a 125% deposit bonus. You put in $100, you get $125 back. It's $225 to game with at chatsports.com/bet. Promo code chat125. You saw against the Milwaukee Bucks. Embiid is the better player than the Joker. The Joker would never, and I mean never, D up Giannis like Embiid did in the guts of that game. Another problem with Embiid: missed games. That is an issue in the regular season as well as in the playoffs. So far this year, he's missed 13. Last year, 14. Year before that, 21 games missed. 2019-20, 22 games missed. 2018-19, 18 games missed. So he has never really been consistently available, giving you 65, 70 games, right? But the numbers that he's been able to put up, straight up magical. I mean, this is one thing about Embiid. Even if he comes up short in the playoffs here, to have the pleasure of watching him when he's actually on the floor night in, night out, really is special. We're talking about one of the most unique players that we've ever seen in the history of the NBA. Footwork like Hakeem Olajuwon, physically overpowers you like Shaquille O'Neal, moves with grace on the floor, and I don't know if we're ever going to see another player like Joel Embiid again. I was talking with my boy Coop, who's producing the show right now. He's a big Mavs fan. When the Sixers fell to the Mavs the other night, he was like, dude, Embiid is just so big. He makes Dwight Powell look small. He really does. He towers over opponents, and to have the blend of finesse, skill, and physicality really is one of one. But here's the thing about this Knicks trade that Bill Simmons brought up. The Knicks have so many draft and player assets that they could give up to maybe entice Philadelphia and put together one of the better deals out there if Joel Embiid were to force a trade. Like this trade idea right here. Sixers, they trade away Joel Embiid. Then they get Mitchell Robinson. Don't sleep on him. He's pretty good. R.J. Barrett, Obi Toppin, and 6 first-round picks. Because the Sixers made the trade for James Harden, they have really gotten rid of a lot of their draft capital. Well, immediately with this deal, you're able to restore that and maybe try to build the team a little bit around Tyrese Maxey and then bring in another marquee free agent while having those draft picks to either use or maybe use in a trade as well. And this only happens if the Sixers fail to do anything in the playoffs. Like, let's be clear here. If the Sixers make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, Joel Embiid's going to come back because he's still going to be starving for that championship. But if they go out in the first round, or if they go out in the second round once again, I think some of these rumors and this speculation could come to the forefront once again. And for James Harden, why would James Harden go back to the Houston Rockets? The one thing that's missing on his mantle of achievements throughout his NBA career is an NBA championship. If he goes back to Houston, he's basically bypassing any opportunity to win a title. And that just tells me that he's selfish and all he cares about are his individual numbers. But if Harden does go, why would Joel Embiid stay? Especially if the Sixers can't find another superstar replacement to team up with Joel Embiid. I mean, shoot, is Tyrese Maxey going to make that next jump? I believe in the kid. I love his mental psyche. I love his confidence. I like his work ethic. But you need another big player in that lineup. Getting through the Bucks and the Celtics is going to be a difficult task. I've always said this over the last couple of years. The Sixers do not match up well psychologically or lineup-wise with Boston. They do match up well with the Milwaukee Bucks because Joel Embiid is one of the only players in the NBA who can at least impact Giannis to a certain degree. This Sixers team, Jekyll and Hyde, man, they can make it to the finals. I won't be surprised. They can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I wouldn't be totally floored. If they went out in the first or second round, I wouldn't be surprised either. The Sixers roster, it could look drastically different next year, though, and beyond. If some of that movement does happen. Like if Harden goes, what happens? The Sixers, they've relied on him to be their crutch a lot of times offensively this year, and he came up really big at the end of that game against Milwaukee, finally doing something in a critical moment. You look at the conference standings here. This is where the Sixers currently stand. Bucks in first place with that #1 seed because they've gone on that tear. But them and the Boston Celtics have really flip-flopped that pole position for the #1 seed in the East. Sixers not far behind with, 16, 18 games to play, something like that. 4 games back in that win column. That's why that win against the Bucks was so big. Cavaliers there in that 4th spot. New York Knicks, they're surging very, very quickly in that 5th seed. So what do you think before we hop on out of here? Will the Sixers make the Eastern Conference Finals this year? Why for yes and for no? Let me know down in the comment section. As always, we appreciate all of you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.